Welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show. I'm Paulie D. He's Chris Kotsopoulos. Kotsopoulos. Say that 3 times fast.
Say it fast and you won't blow it.
Hey, check out the new mug.
Oh, new mug. Look at my new mug.
Island Printing, hooking me.
That's awesome. I want one of those. I got to get one of those. What the problem is what are we going to do? Where's the letter? Letter's going to go on that. Where's the letter's going to go on?
All the way around. Anyway.
They can put down the Big G. That was my nickname with the Rangers. Okay? The Big G.
Got the shirt, got the mug, got everything. I think
I got my kid's little podcast thing on here who designed that logo too.
Yes, he did.
It's a glory.
The Instigators Hockey Show.
Yeah.
Can I say I'm Paulie D and that's Chris Kotsopoulos.
Yes, you did.
Let's get started.
We haven't had that many drinks yet, have we?
I mean, that thing holds 2 beers easy, and I think that's my second one. So
there you go.
We're feeling good. All right, so there's a lot to do, a lot to talk about, a lot coming up, a lot happening. And we got 2 in a row here, 2 Mondays in a row. We don't usually do Mondays, don't really like Mondays, but we'll do a couple Mondays.
Wasn't there a song like that? I don't like Mondays.
Or Manic Monday. First thing I want to say, and, as a longtime New York Ranger fan, but more importantly as a big hockey fan, last week, the passing of Mike Bossy, lot to say there. Just a legendary hockey player. Kotze, for many years, as I know Kotze said, probably the best right wing ever to play, or at least real close to being the best ever. Natural, pure goal scorer. Mike Bossy didn't play many years. Kotze, when did he play? About 10 years?
He played 9 and change.
Yeah. And
he scored 50 in 9 straight years, which I think it was incredible. To me, I may have jumped the gun, like I said, about 10 days ago about his passing, but and I feel bad about that. But I just remember playing against the guy and how, he was unassuming on the ice, but boy, when that puck got on his stick, like in a scoring situation, he could thread the needle. If there was just like a 4 by 4 inch area open in that net area, he would plug it with that shot, no problem. He was that good. He's probably. I think he's the best purest goal scorer that ever played the game. I mean, I looked him up a little bit without knowing. I didn't notice at first. But he has the highest scoring percentage of all time. And he's ahead of Mario Lemieux. So, yeah, it's pretty sad. Where would the Islanders have been without him? That dynasty. Yeah. And you think about the organization with all the bullshit they've gone through over the last few years, ownership, buildings, this, that. Clark Gillies passing away. That was another, bad one. Now it's Mike Bossy. I mean, he's only a couple years older than me, so it kind of hurts a little bit. And I didn't play as a New York Ranger long enough to have that kind of hate for the New York Islanders. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. He'll go down in my book. I don't know about the best right winger. I think that might be Gordie Howe. But he'll go down as the greatest, purest goal scorer the NHL has ever seen.
Well, the China Wall's in the house, too.
The China Wall.
The China Wall. Barry Shelley. Yeah, so, I mean, I agree. Mike Bossy, I mean, when I was a kid, didn't like him very much.
Well, I'm sure you didn't.
But
I don't think a lot of people liked him when he was popping goals left and right. I mean, I was there. I mean, I'm sure he scored a few goals when I was on there. So he added to my minuses on the stat sheet, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, our condolences with the Bossy family and friends, and just a huge loss for the hockey world. So wanted to make quick mention of that.
Yeah, and again, I just want to remind everybody, these are players from my era that we're talking about now. So, I think you and I have talked about this offline, privately, and it's funny how when it comes to death in our lives, it goes in decades. It'll happen all at once for a while, then it'll pause for a while, then it'll start again. And this is the start of it again, unfortunately.
Well,
it sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Barry, I have your shirt, by the way. Tati, I have yours. I promise I'm gonna send them out next week. I promise. Barry, check this out. What? Island Printing got my own.
That thing's bigger than my head.
two beer mug, and that's tough, man. Cutsy's got a big head.
Exactly. Look at it. It's bigger than my head.
Look at that thing, man. That's awesome.
Gigantic.
I
want one triple that size.
Good stuff. So, Island Printing, thank you very much. We're going to talk about hats. We're going to get some things up for sale soon. We're going to have some fun, but a lot to really talk about, Cots, and I don't know that we'll get through all of it. I was really I was impressed with the ovation that Carey Price got the other night, coming back, playing his first game with the Canadians. Obviously, that franchise is, the most notorious franchise probably in the world, but definitely in the world of hockey. Carey Price comes back after some personal things and everything else in life that happens as human beings. And that crowd was just, it gives you chills, chanting his name, standing ovation. Haven't seen him in it's got to be a year, correct?
Yeah, well, he didn't start the season, so.
Yeah. So what a great ovation, and just what very moving, and glad to see him playing his first game and getting back in it. Lot to be said there, especially with that franchise. So. Yeah,
first of all, Paulie, one of the greatest goalies in the modern day, no question about it. I mean, he kind of falls in the same category as Henrik Lundqvist, where they both were outstanding for their organizations and really, made the organizations, do pretty good when it comes to playoff hockey. But unfortunately, neither one of them ended up winning the Stanley Cup. But that doesn't say anything against what they did as a goaltender. And Montreal is like I've told you in the past, and I'm going to say it again, is probably one of the most passionate, psychotic fans that you'll ever see.
Yes.
They really are. I mean, they love their Canadians. They love players on their team. I kind of compare them to like the New York Yankees fans who are a little bit psychotic too. And whether people want to you're psychotic sometimes, okay? Whether you like to hear it or not, it's the truth. But he deserved it. He deserved that what he got the other night. He's gone through a lot of stuff. Obviously, privately, medically, that I do know a little bit about, but I'm not going to divulge on this show because it's not my place to do it. It's good. It's good for hockey that he's back, and hopefully he'll be ready to play next year because, we talk about good teams and most disappointing team. They're one of the most disappointing teams of the season this year, regardless whether he played or not. They basically shit the bed as an organization this year after going as far as they did last year. So
yeah.
And they're going to need Carey Price in the future, whether they keep him or not. That's up to them.
Yep, I agree. And with that being said, just to add, like you said, I mean, you think about Carey Price and what he's done for them for years, very much like Henrik Lundqvist. I agree. Really difference maker, game stealer, possibly, series stealer.
Yeah.
That kind of goaltending. So, hats off. Glad he's doing well. Glad he's back. And I just, I love that. The one thing I love You know, been to a lot of games in my life, been to a lot of events in my life, but there's something about a hockey game, Original Six, been to a lot of Yankee games too. I'm a big baseball Yankee fan. You know that, Chris. But there's something so special. New York sports is like this. Montreal's like this. Toronto's like this with their hockey. Those ovations and the fans just pouring out love, you can't help but to get chills in your body and think to yourself, what an honor, how better can you be recognized by your fan base and recognized in what you do as an athlete, and to just be in those atmospheres, in that atmosphere alone, it's just many fans know. I mean, there's a chill there, there's an excitement there, and it's something special to be said.
Yeah,
So,
they're the fans of Montreal are very emotional. When they watch a game there as a fan, where when I played, at the old Forum and even the new building, if you really watch a game in Montreal, you'll hear them. They'll every time a Montreal player gets touched, it's a penalty. They go nuts. They go nuts up there. And as a player, if you're a home team guy playing for Montreal, you gotta love that. I mean, to get you into the game as well. But for the most part, most Canadian cities are pretty sit on their hands during the regular season.
yeah.
But not Montreal.
No.
Not Montreal. They're not like that at all.
Yeah.
And for Carey Price to get what he got the other night there, the ovation and the adulation and the recognition that he got, it's well deserved. And it's hard for me to say growing up in Ontario, but kudos to the fans of Montreal. Even though I hated the Canadians when I played against them. So.
There's a special kind of hate there, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. But I can appreciate what they've done,
Well, we're gonna change tunes here a little bit, Chris. So we were talking before the show, and obviously you do some article reading and look at things throughout of the NHL, and I'm still trying to figure out why Pizzetta got 2 games as 2-game suspension. I'm still trying to figure that out. I read it today, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, it barely warranted a penalty on the ice, yet it's 2 games, and I don't know, man. I just don't know. And you know what? I mean, Oshie didn't go down. He didn't play, like he got shot dead or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I mean, Malkin gets 4 games for a blatant cross check to the face, and this guy gets 2 games for a shoulder brush. I don't know, and I tell you, it almost looked like head on head in the shoulder and head.
It's the old glass is half full, half empty. The people on the one side are going to say it deserved it. The people on obviously your side and my side, I'm still trying to figure it out as well. I mean, yeah, was there contact with the chin and the head? Sure, absolutely, there was contact. But please tell me how you're going to hit people. You and I've been squawking about this for about 10 years now. How do you hit somebody without making a little contact to the head once in a while? How does that happen? Explain that to me, people. If you want us to go low as an ex-player, we'll take your legs out. Next thing you know, you'll be penalizing us for that shit. You know what I mean? It's almost impossible to make a hit these days without making some kind of contact with a player's head.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we're gearing it up, Paulie, to that dreaded day where they're just going to take hitting totally out of hockey. I mean, to me, I don't think he deserved a 2-game suspension. Did he deserve a penalty? Sure, give him a penalty for whatever, 2 minutes for non-intentionally hitting him in the face. You know what I mean? I don't care, but a 2-game suspension for that? Nah, that's bullshit. But that's the NHL today. That's the way it is. Sometimes they come down hard on these things, and sometimes they don't do nothing at all. I mean, if that was Alex Ovechkin over the last 10 years, he'd have been suspended 20, 30 times already. And I had to put that in there, right?
I know. So let me read the article really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then we'll move past it like I plan to do quickly. Pizzetta was suspended 2 games by the NHL player safety on Monday for an illegal check to the head of Washington Capitals forward TJ Oshie. The incident happened in the third period. They're saying Pizzetta delivered an elbow up high on Oshie along the boards. So I don't know if anybody I don't know that we're going to do it this year. We might come to playoffs, but next year we're going to incorporate video.
Yes.
And
We got to start putting videos in so we can really, really do a screw job on the NHL.
we will. I don't know. If you haven't seen the hit, you need to Google it. Because
I'm not going to sit here and lie to people. There was head contact. I get it, but how do you not make head contact in that situation? I don't think he went charging after him. Right. I don't think he intentionally went after him to hit him that way. I think he went in just to hit him. And I think at the same time, if you watch this video, people, you can see Oshie kind of turning. It only takes a few centimeters for you to turn into it a little bit. And then, yes, there was a head contact, but 2 games for that? Please.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Please.
Ridiculous.
Poor guy Pizzetta, he's probably only making the minimum, which is a lot of money these days, but he's going to lose 2 game paychecks out of that.
Right? It's time to drink to that. Hey, Koch, show everybody your mug. Where's your mug?
My mug today, right here,
buddy.
There's
Koch's mug.
There it is.
JD in the house. Paulie D and JD.
Last week it was, what was it last week? I had beer.
Did you have beer? Did you have Guinness last week?
Yes, I had Guinness last week. I'm going to go back. I'll go back to England pretty soon. I'm still trying to get them to advertise on our show. But, you know.
Still drinking the red, white, and blue old-fashioned Bud.
Oldest brewery in America.
That's what Paulie drink. I know. I do love England. All right, we're going to move past that because I'm over it. We are going to talk about, I think this is a great mention, and I think this is bad news for the Canes, but good news for everyone else. Freddie Anderson got hurt last week, and looks like he's getting reevaluated for a lower body injury. I don't know why the article is not pulling up fast enough for me, but that is serious news. If he's got any significant lower body injury going into the playoffs for the Canes, that's a huge disadvantage for them, and it's a huge advantage for whoever they play.
Well, it's not good for the Carolina, Hurricanes. Obviously, who are in a big battle with the New York Rangers right now to win that division. They're tied in points going into tonight. I think Carolina's playing a game tonight. All I know, I don't know very much about these days. I mean, back in our day, they would actually tell you what was wrong. But nowadays in sports, they don't tell you anything. They say it's an upper body injury, it's a lower body injury. You know what I mean? They won't tell you exactly because they want to keep it secret. But for a goaltender to get hurt like this at this time, and I read Rod Brindamore talking about they're going to wait at least a week.
It sounds like a knee to me.
Well, that's not but it sounds like to me that there's some kind of swelling involved.
Exactly.
So they usually don't want to take MRIs immediately if there's swelling involved. So that's too bad. I mean, personally, I hope he's okay. But this is the part of the game that that everybody goes through, Paulie. Whether it's your top guy or your 18th guy on the ice, it happens. People get injured. And, Carolina's just going to have to suck it up and continue their way. I mean, they've had a good season so far, but now is an opportunity for the Rangers to take advantage of it. With 6-7 games to go, you got a chance at securing first place now. Hopefully, the Rangers will rise to the occasion and take advantage of this, but we'll have to see how Carolina reacts to it too. They're a damn good hockey club, Paulie, and
they sure are.
We can't just sit there and say that whoever's going to back them up now in goal can't do the job. So,
Sure.
but the MRI thing, right? As soon as I hear that all the time now, I know right away, like, there's got to be some kind of swelling involved regarding the injury, so they don't want to do an MRI right away because you can't really get a good picture of it. So they're going to wait a week, take an MRI, and they're going to cross their fingers that he's okay. Yeah. But it's a biggie. That's a biggie if it's serious. That's huge.
Yeah, it sure is. That's huge for Carolina. And like you said, it's a great, it's an advantage for. It's an opportunity for teams to take advantage.
Ooh. Well, the Rangers and Carolina are battling for first place, Paulie, and that's a big thing.
Sure is.
The way things shuffle out with the top 8 teams, it's going to be a big thing to make sure that you secure as much home ice as possible.
Sure.
If you go past the first round, you want to have home ice again, and again, as long as you can.
Absolutely. Home ice is the advantage.
Hey, Barry, you ready to play?
Yeah.
So that's a China Wall.
The great China Wall. You ready to go?
Back up there in Carolina right now.
So, moving past that, talk about the Eastern Conference. Actually, we're going to start with the Western Conference. The standing right now, obviously, Colorado's the number 1 team in the entire world.
Oh, they're good. They look really, really strong.
They are very scary. They're a scary, scary team.
High scoring.
Kati gave me credit for the St. Louis call.
Every now and then a squirrel finds his nut,
Yeah. Oh, he's taking shots now, huh, big boy?
Well, I haven't paid attention to St. Louis, to be honest with you. But since they won the Stanley Cup, they haven't really been, But now they're significant again. I agree. Kudos to you. Kudos to you, Paulie.
Out of that Stanley Cup, we got Sammy Blais, and I haven't heard hide nor hair. And I want to know what's going on with Sammy Blais. He's been out the entire season. Cuts that knee has got to be healed.
Well, it depends on how bad it was, though, Paulie.
Gosh.
He's from what I understand, this is all I know, he has been skating for the last couple of weeks. But how hard is he, turning, making cuts, stopping and going? I don't know that part. But he's been on skates.
Well,
it'll be just another conundrum, as they say, for head coach Jared Gallant to try and fit him in if he's available.
He needs to play. If he can play, he needs to play. Minnesota, 101 points. I didn't see that as much as I saw St. Louis, but you know what? Minnesota's been quiet there. They're ranked 3rd in the Central.
They could go down as one of the top surprise teams in the league this year. No question about it. I didn't see that coming at all, especially after the debacle signing Suter and Parisi, giving those guys $100+ million that really ended up being a big anchor for that organization, but a nice wallet stuffer for the 2 players.
And at the deadline, they picked up Marc-Andre Fleury, did they not?
Yeah, which is that one there kind of puzzled me because I thought Cam Talbot was doing the job before then, but now you got two pretty good goaltenders, and Marc-Andre Fleury obviously has a little bit more of a pedigree when it comes to the playoffs. But sure. I like Cam Talbot when he was here with the Rangers.
So did I.
I think he went to Edmonton from there and didn't fit in well there over the years. Ended up in Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota's one of those teams, Paulie. What's his name? Kirill Kaprizov. He's got 40-something goals this year. One of your favorite little midgets there, Matt Zuccarello's doing well there. The guy, his stick's taller than he is, but he's
the Hobbit. Didn't we used to call it the Hobbit?
I've always said to you, the guy can play. The guy can play. But I think he's a little bit of a shit disturber. Would have got squashed in our day.
The Flames are tied with.
They're for real.
Now that's a big, heavy team, man.
Ooh.
Lucic, There's a couple guys that can throw the body and can
Ooh,
bring some
they're
pain.
big, they're mean, they're tough, they're skilled. I have them ranked as number one from Canada right now, as the best team in Canada right now, probably right behind Colorado. Or
You know what's funny? What you're saying, that their goal differential, they're just behind Colorado by a slight margin.
yeah,
Well, the plus 80 in Colorado's plus 88 goal differential. So you're right. You're right there. I mean, they have
you know what I really, you know what
they're
I
a
really,
heavy team.
you know what I really like about their team, and I've had the and I call it a pleasure to watch some of Daryl Sutter's interviews after games. Boy, is he a no bullshit, no nonsense guy.
I love that.
I'll tell you what, you go look at some of his interviews this year after games. He kind of makes the reporters in the media look stupid, with his responses. Like, because he's old school.
Yeah, I love that.
I remember playing against him in Chicago. There, he was a captain for a long time, and I don't think he was as good as his brother Brian, but he was a decent hockey player, and a good hard nosed guy. And he won 2 Stanley Cups in LA, so he knows his stuff. He's been a GM, he's been a coach, he's been a player, he's done it all.
He's a Sutter, man. I mean, come on.
And you know what? He's another one that should get a few votes for Coach of the Year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Along with Gerard Gallant.
Wouldn't disagree. Then we're looking at the Pacific. You got Edmonton at 94 points, LA at 90 points. And I tell you, I watched Colorado play LA. I think it was last week. I stayed up a little later. I watched the first period. Oh my goodness. Did Colorado just bring it to them in the first period? I think they were up 4-0. It was embarrassing. Colorado's really scary. And then the wild card right now is Dallas and Nashville. Vegas is on the outside looking in. Looks like, they're more and more of a gap there. I think, what do they got left in games?
They got, what are they, 4 points out with 6 games to go, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's a little bit of a shocker to me that Vegas is struggling to make the playoffs.
Well, Nashville is my surprise because how many points does Yossi have?
88.
It's a lot of points for a defenseman.
Well, he's having a phenomenal year for a defenseman in the modern day National Hockey League. Makar, I think Kyle Makar's got 82, I believe. And those two right now are probably way ahead of everybody else when it comes to Norris Trophy. And I think Roman Yossi's going to get it for sure.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's my odds-on favorite to win it.
All right, now we'll move over to the East real quick. The Eastern Conference, all the playoff spots are taken. Florida obviously is number one in the league with 114. Oh, no, I mean, they're behind Colorado by 2, but in the East, they're number one with 114 points. Looks like, obviously they're going to have the number one spot there.
Listen, they're a pretty dominant club right now, Florida. They're on a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody chasing them realistically, to try and catch them. And yet they go out and they're still winning 10 in a row. You know what I'm saying? So they're the top dog in the East right now, as far as I'm concerned.
How do they match up against teams from the East, Cots?
I think they've matched up pretty good all year, Paulie. I told you last year when they played Tampa, I didn't watch a lot of the playoffs last year, but I watched a little bit of their games. Only because, my former teammate Joe Quenneville was coaching the Panthers at the time. And the only reason why they lost to Tampa is because they lacked a defensive type of game. They were just as good as Tampa or better offensively throughout that series, I thought, on their goal-scoring chances, but they were a little loose defensively, and Tampa played that waiting game that they play so well and capitalized on it, and that's why they ended up beating them. But even though it took a while in that series. Well, this year they've turned it around a little bit defensively, and they still have that high output offense. I mean, Jonathan Huberdeau, think about this one. Who is Jonathan Huberdeau? Did anybody know who he was before the season started? Guy's second in scoring. In the National, he's got 108 points. That team's for real, Paulie.
Yeah, I know they are.
Especially, and I know I'm repeating myself, but especially with all the bullshit about Joel Quenneville and the Kyle Beach, garbage.
Yeah, and
Joel getting fired or not fired but resigning. So for them to continue that pace, phenomenal job by that team.
Yeah. Yep. You got Toronto, who's not too shabby either, at 106 points.
This is something that my Leaf fans get on me about because I don't talk about them enough. But they broke the all-time Leaf record for points in a season. They broke the all-time record for wins in a season. Obviously, Austin Matthews broke the record for goals in a season. And it's all great stuff. But, I'm going to say it to my Leaf fans right now. It don't mean shit unless you do something in the playoffs, people. You got to do it in the playoffs. Doesn't matter if you're a 40-goal, 50-goal, 60-goal scorer. It don't matter if you get 200 points in a season. It's what you do in the playoffs that count.
And we all know that all too well.
It's the truth.
Amen.
I listen, outside the Rangers, I'm pulling for the Leafs. I still have a spot in my heart for them. I think they're going to be a tough team. I think it's Florida. Here's the way I got it, Paul. I got Florida as number one, the powerhouse in the East right now. And number two, it would have been Carolina, but now that they have that question mark at goaltending, I think it's a toss up between the Rangers and the Leafs right now. I do.
I wouldn't disagree.
As like just below Florida. So
yeah,
that's what I think.
Well, I wouldn't disagree. Toronto is Toronto. They have a lot to prove. There's a lot to be said.
Paulie, they're a dangerous team because of the fact they have multiple players that can put the puck in the net.
Yep.
On any given night. Not only do you have the best guy in the league that puts puck in the net, you have other guys that contribute as well. And if you catch them on their good night, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But if you catch them on one of their weaker nights where they kind of like leak a little bit defensively, they're in trouble. In reverse. It all depends on what Leaf team shows up.
Yeah.
With them.
It's true.
They're a little leaky still on defense. They're not as tight as they should be going into the playoffs, but they can also beat you 5-4,
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I mean, if we look up and down the East, let's be honest.
It's tough. It's not easy.
It's not like the West. You got Florida. You got Toronto. Listen, you can't count Tampa Bay out. They're still a very explosive offensive club with good goaltending. People can say what they want to say. I know three-peat this and blah, 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 and, blah, blah, blah. They're still a good hockey club.
I've never said they're not.
They're a dangerous hockey club.
I'm just going to stick to my guns on that one.
And you got Carolina. You got Carolina, like you said, with Freddie Anderson getting hurt, but they're still a good hockey club. They're scary. They forecheck better than any team in the league. They're good with neutrals. I think they're the best with neutral zone turnovers.
Yeah, they made the Rangers look pretty average the other night there when they played.
Sure.
The Rangers had a 1-0 lead. Could have taken a 2-0 lead when Toronto rang that one off the goalpost. But after that, Carolina just kind of did a job on the Rangers.
Yeah.
They really couldn't do anything after that.
I
think that was a big learning lesson, though, for the Rangers. When we do get around, it was a big learning lesson for them.
I really hope so.
Against a team like that.
I really hope so. They have to learn how to play against them. Then you talk about the New York Rangers. New York Rangers, number 1, number 2 power play in the game. The Rangers can score at will. That's the one thing I will say. We'll talk about them later on. The one thing that I will say about the Rangers that I've been watching them for, the better part of 30-plus years. This
That's
team
all. That's all. You're older than that.
This team can score goals, man. You know, this team can score goals. And then with the goaltending of Shesterkin, anything's possible. Pittsburgh, you never count out. They have, Sidney Crosby. Malkin will be back, ready to play. They're not an easy shoo-in by any means. They're a tough team. Boston and Washington. I mean, people can say what they want for the wild card, but
there's no weak sisters out of the 8 teams.
The East is tough, man. It's a tough place to be.
Yeah.
So it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly getting out of there. I don't really see any laydowns.
There's no weak sisters, Paul. There's no weak sisters at all.
Florida plays Washington or Boston or Pittsburgh. I don't see any sweeps here, people. I don't see any easy games. I don't see any blowouts here, and there's a lot to be said about that because the time and the mileage and the suffering going into the next round, into the next round, into the next round.
It's important. It's important to have at least one easy series if you win a Stanley Cup. One easy.
So,
but you know what? That being said, Paul, I'm going to just latch on to what you just said. Wouldn't it be something the bottom 4 teams advance in the East and the top 4 teams go out the first round? It's possible.
It is very possible.
It's possible. Think about it.
The East is that strong. The East is that strong.
It's possible.
If we were talking, if you head out west, I don't feel that way. I don't feel like Minnesota is going to tear it up over there in the West. I don't think, I can see Colorado embarrassing a couple of clubs.
I see Calgary doing the same thing.
I see that. I don't see that in the East. I think the weakest team in the East would be. I think Pittsburgh's a little bit weaker than they would normally be, and I think Boston's a little bit weaker than they would normally be. Not that they're laydowns, but I think the East is a lot tougher than the West is going to be this year. So
I agree 100% on that.
We'll see we'll see as the playoffs unfold here. All right, we are going to move on a little bit. Cots, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the NHL awards with the Hart Trophy and the Norris, the Vezina. There's a couple of players to be mentioned in different categories. Usually the goaltenders they stick with the Vezina Trophy, but there's a couple that really could be considered Hart Trophy winners.
Well, you got it. Sometimes I think these awards are given out on more of the favorite player rather than what the actual award is supposed to be. When it comes to best defenseman, best Hart Trophy, the Vezina, this, that, all. You know what I mean? I'm not saying all the time, but some of the times it is. And I'm gonna throw some names at you here that that should be considered. You got to start with Connor McDavid, who's I guess he's leading the league in scoring or whatever right now, and then you got Draisaitl, and you got Jonathan Huberdeau, who's number 2 in scoring, and then you got Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey in Calgary's right up there too. Then you got Austin Matthews, who's basically leading the Leafs. These are all some pretty damn good hockey players, and probably the cream of the crop when it comes to the NHL in talent right now.
Right.
Then you got goaltending. You got Markstrom in Calgary. You got Anderson in Carolina. And you got Igor Shesterkin. Now, it may sound biased, but who's the most important player to their team right now? That's the way I look at it. If you're going to pick the Hart Trophy, the MVP of the league, is it because of the stats? Is it because you got the most this, the most that, the most this, or what is the reason why their team is really doing well. And I think Igor Shesterkin right now should be right up there with any one of those guys I mentioned when it comes to MVP of the league. We're talking about a Ranger team that hadn't made the playoffs, legitimate playoffs in over 3 years. Okay. And now they have 104 points. Like, where did it come from, Paul, all of a sudden this year? I know they had some talent up front, no question about it. But when you look at Igor Shesterkin, I mean, his numbers, again, as good as anybody's that's playing in the Nets right now, or better. So who's really more important to their team? Is Connor McDavid more important to the Edmonton Oilers than Igor Shesterkin is to the New York Rangers? I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not telling you one or the other here. But this is how you got to vote on this shit. I mean, I don't. Is Johnny Gaudreau more important to the Calgary Flames than any other player? It's going to be a tough one this year, Paulie, on that. I mean, again, Jonathan Huberdeau, I mean, I know who he was, people, before the season started, but just shocked the shit out of me to find out that he's got 108 points this year. I mean,
yeah. Yep.
Incredible.
Connor McDavid leads the league with 110.
Yeah.
Huberdeau 108. Draisaitl 105. Johnny Gaudreau 105.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews 102. Matthew Tkachuk, I didn't know he
out
had
of nowhere is in the top 6 or 7.
Yeah, he's actually number 6 with 96 points. So, Mitch Marner.
What about Roman Josi with 88 points as a defenseman?
Yeah, let me.
For Nashville.
I mean, you look at.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to pick the MVP this year. Is what I'm saying.
Well,
any one of those guys could win it, and I won't be upset with it. You know what I mean?
Johnny Gaudreau has 69 assists, and he's a plus 59. So he's number 1 in plus minus.
Yeah.
He's number 2 in assists, and he ranks second with points at 108. So you want to talk about a Hart Trophy winner candidate? I mean, he's got.
If you go by the numbers, Paulie, that's great.
Right.
Where I go away from the numbers just slightly is who's more important to their team.
Sure.
And right now, I don't see anybody that's more important to their team than Igor Shesterkin. And you can call him bias, whatever you want, guys. Go look at his numbers. Go look at the Rangers before Shesterkin. Go look at them now with Shesterkin. That's all.
So let's take a look at Shesterkin now. Right, number 1 in goals against average, 2.05. Freddie Anderson is 217. Save percentage, 935. Holy moly, that's some serious stuff. The Islanders, what's his name? Sorokin? Sorokin. There you go. He's 927. And then he is.
He's like second or tied for third in wins with goaltenders too. Shesterkin, I believe, 35 wins. But I'm looking at who's the more important player on each team. I'm not looking at. I want to take the numbers out of it for a while. Look at where all these players are playing, and look at where they are all in the standings right now.
Right.
And you expected that out of Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. They've been great for years now. Okay. Right. Maybe Jonathan Huberdeau, not so much. He's an unexpected surprise for me. And when you look at Shesterkin, I mean, in the Rangers, did anybody even think that they'd come close to 100 points this year? No, not even the diehardest Ranger fan would have admitted that.
No.
I'm looking at where these guys were all at one, and even Calgary. I don't think anybody thought Calgary would be as good as they were this year.
No.
So there's another one,
I didn't.
I don't know.
Well, I didn't think
I was biased, but I'm going with Shesterkin right now. No, I agree. But Shesterkin, I think, is probably more valuable to his team than any other player is to their team right now.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
They can call bullshit on me all they want. I'm standing by it.
I think the other. I mean, I think that I think how the league will probably move is Jonathan Huberdeau for the Hart, and then the Vezina goes to Shesterkin. I think they'll probably lean that way, and I know what you're saying, and probably only because Huberdeau is running within the top three in three different categories, which is pretty powerful. But
any one of those skaters that I mentioned could win it, and I'm not going to argue about it.
Yeah.
The way it goes. I mean, they're all having phenomenal seasons, and their teams are all doing great. I mean, other than I mentioned Roman Yossi. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs and stuff like that, but they're not like dominant right now. There it is. Get your mugs coming soon.
I love this mug. By the way, what I'm showing you is that the show is almost over because I only have that much beer left, man.
That's all you can handle. You're like that buddy of mine, Dan Schmidt.
Oh, the guy from the Poconos cold, by the way. All right. Anyway,
Poconos.
We'll leave it there. Let's talk New York Rangers, and then we're going to close this bad boy out. I mean, Chris, I couldn't be more impressed with the last couple of games of the Rangers. I'm glad that they're going hard. They're playing not so tough teams. Obviously Detroit's not a playoff team. Who'd they play a couple of nights ago? Not a playoff team, but still, you got to go in. You got to play hard. Going in to the playoffs, gathering points, building confidence. Lafreniere last night. Was it last night? Saturday night?
2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Or 2 afternoons ago.
Saturday night. Comes back from a day off and scores 2 big goals. One of them being a highlight reel. I don't care what anyone says. It was a highlight reel between the legs. Beat both the defenseman and the goaltender.
And the fans.
With that move. Chris, it's got to be nice to go into the playoffs with confidence, feeling like you're firing on all cylinders. Obviously we talk about Shesterkin, the goaltending's there, the scoring is there. Chris Kreider with 50 goals, all the confidence in the world. I know Panarin's been hot. Saturday night, Zibanejad scores a big power play goal with that slap shot, just like the Stamkoses and the Ovechkins with that big slap shot from that side there. And then, defensively, a shutout, giving up, just not letting a lot of goals in and playing well defensively. And then when you do have the breakdown, the goaltending's there.
Well, again, you and I have discussed this before. When you have confidence in your goaltending, and let's throw Georgiev in there too as well. He's won his last 6 games as well. So
right.
A lot of people like to shit on him. I don't. I feel he's got a tough job, backing up the best goalie in the league right now. But when you have confidence in your goaltending as a player, as a defenseman, as a forward, you feel a little bit more stronger and challenging people when it comes to the defensive side. And it's working right now for the Rangers. If you don't have confidence in your goaltending, you'd see a lot more backing in, a lot more loose play in your own zone because players would be like scrambling all over the place trying to do more than they should. Right now they're playing good, solid, fundamental hockey defensively. And, getting back to what you said earlier about, not playing the cream of the crop the last few games, it doesn't matter who you're playing because the NHL is the NHL. And if you're not prepared to play that night to do what your team's supposed to do, you're going to get your ass kicked. Okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can talk all you want. If you go out there unprepared, the worst team in the league will kick you in the ass. Okay? So they were good enough and smart enough to understand that by playing Detroit and so on, and playing them solid and playing good defensive hockey. Now, me being the prick that I am sometimes, well, all the time, there's a couple of things I'd like to see them do better. I think they're a little too artsy-fartsy for me sometimes, and too much passing going on. Panarin's he's number one on the list. Passes the puck way too much. Doesn't shoot enough. Okay, and the same thing with Zibanejad. Same thing with all. They all have this little passing-itis type thing instead of taking a shot. And when you're in the playoffs and you're in that, what I call the middle of the net zone, triangle, 20, 25 feet out, that's a scoring zone, people. And I'm telling these modern day players, that's a scoring zone. It's not a place to pass the fucking puck. It's a place to shoot. And they've been doing that quite a bit lately, as far as I'm concerned. In other words, they could be scoring more if they'd learn how to shoot the puck a little bit more. Be greedy. It's okay to be greedy. It's okay to be greedy. I want to score. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have that feeling when you're in that triangle zone I'm talking about. And I think they pass a little bit too much, and that includes Fox. There's a lot of times where he gets right in there close deep, and I'm yelling at the TV, shoot, and he won't shoot. Now, it all looks great when they score, but I can guarantee you Ranger fans are as frustrated as I am sometimes watching that extra pass. That's one of my big beasts. And going into the playoffs, it's going to be important for you to capitalize on every opportunity. Instead of making that extra pass, be greedy, shoot the puck.
Right.
Try to score rather than make that extra pass. Now, the defensive side of it, they've definitely tightened up the ship. They've been loose quite a bit this year in certain games, but I think that's key going into the playoffs. Right now, I think it's a matter of them getting healthy, and then Gerard Glenn has that tough job of figuring out what his lineup's going to be going into what series, right? Is it still Pittsburgh they're going to play? What are they going to need lineup-wise? Like, I'm going to throw this out at you. Who do you think the three pairs of defensemen should be right now going into the playoffs? I know there's still 7 games left, but.
Well, I mean, obviously,
what are your top 6 defensemen right now?
well, I mean, there's no doubt that I've fallen in love with Keandre Miller.
Keandre Miller, Truber, one.
Love him.
Okay.
Obviously, you're going to play Adam Fox. I like Nemeth. I've liked him all year. I think he's healthy now. I like Nemeth.
Schneider, Nemeth. There you go.
Schneider hasn't.
I'm just
made a fucking mistake.
So is Braun going to be the guy on the outside looking in that comes in when somebody needs a break or somebody has an off game or whatever?
Probably. I mean, and I've said this to you in the past. My outside guy is Lindgren.
I know, but that's not going to happen. You can
I understand.
Put that out of your mind. It's not going to happen.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
It could be a dream and a wish of yours, but it's not going to happen. He's there.
You know what they say? You can shit in one and wish in the other.
Yeah, well, and if you rub them together, what happens?
You got a shitty dream. No, but it's
not going to happen. So I agree with you. It's going to be Namath and Schneider.
I tell you, I'm so impressed with
Schneider. Miller, and it's going to be Fox and Lindgren.
Schneider plays like a freaking veteran. This kid, I love him. I love him, Tots.
I've been I think I told you about him for a couple of years now because
my
good friend Ron Greshner tipped me off to him 2 years ago when he's still in junior.
I'm still impressed with the game.
I think he's going to show more as the next year goes on too. I think he's a lot tougher than everybody thinks he is too because he's not real overly physical yet. but he can be, as you saw against New Jersey.
And I mean, he makes smart plays. He's very simple with his plays. He makes the smart play every single time he plays 101. 101. The kid very rarely makes a bad pass or a stupid mistake. You know, he's all about get it in, get it out, moving along. You know, he's got good feet. He's fast. I love him. And I tell you, the other thing, and I continue to say this because in the beginning of the year, I wasn't high on the kid. But Miller's game, every single day I see this kid, he gets better and better.
I agree totally on that.
And like you said, he's starting more and more to have a little more edge to his game. He's got a little bit, he's dipping a little bit of ugliness in his game. And like you said, if players start to think that this kid can get ugly on them, besides his speed, his reach, his smarts, and he's a big kid. He really, I mean, playing with Trouba, you know, Trouba is, you know, he's the old style defenseman where he plays physical, he plays smart.
Trouba's got 37 points this year. You know that, right?
He's got a good shot. They put him on the power play. So defensively, we spoke about how well this team has progressed. Cots, if there's a hole in this team, where is it?
Well, if you really want to like get down to the nitty gritty, I think it's the third line and fourth line got to produce more offensively. You can't count on Chris Kreider and Zibanejad and Panarin every night to do the scoring for you. You need some more scoring. I mean, when you look at your past Stanley Cup winners, we all know the top lines of these teams and the top defensemen on these teams. But I'll guarantee if you go back and look at the stats throughout the playoffs, there's a couple third liners there somewhere that were scoring points for them too. You know what I mean? Contributing offensively. And I think you're going to need that come playoffs, because if they're not going to do that and they're not going to contribute, it's going to be a little bit easier for the opposition to just bear down on your top 3-4 guys.
Right.
So you're going to need that, and I think the potential is there. I think a guy like Kopp has come in and done his job. The guy's scoring at a point a game average. I think for Toronto is another guy that contributes offensively. I think, unfortunately for Kakko there, he comes back, scores 2 goals against Philly, then he gets hurt again. I mean, and I still think your boy Hedl needs to pick it up. I mean, everybody likes to talk about how he's looked good. He looks this. He looks. I don't care. I want to see it on the sheet after the game. I want to see a little bit more offensive production from him on the.
I don't disagree.
And Lafreniere is another one, but it's not just those guys. You know, other guys too. Like Dryden Hunt's got to score once in a while. You know what I mean? Like in the playoffs, you got to score once in a while. You got to at least make a play to get a goal. You know, stuff like that. You know, Goodrow's scoring more is surprised me more offensively this year than I thought he was. So he's another one. You know, I hope we can count on him going into the playoffs to contribute a little bit, because he's done it all year. I did not think Goodrow was going to score as many points and as many goals. I thought he was going to be that solid third line, you know, hard-nosed guy, forecheck, back check, kill penalties, score a goal or two, but he's done better than that, you know?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. You're going to need a healthy team. You're going to have guys standing. We call them the Black Aces in the playoffs when I played. The guys that were not playing are going to practice on their own, but they're going to have to stay sharp. They're going to have to be ready to go in case something happens, an injury, somebody not living up to their job description, so the coach will mix it up. But listen, they've had a great season so far. It can be greater. I'm not going to sit there and bet the house on them winning a Stanley Cup right now, but it's possible that they can go very, very far with this team. They got everything they need right now, and like you said, maybe Sammy Blake comes back in the middle of the playoffs, kind of like I did in '87 with the Leafs. I wasn't supposed to come back after I tore my groin, but I came back my first game in St. Louis, third game of the series or second game of the series. I got picked for a star after off the whole season. I helped that team out pretty damn good. So maybe Sammy Blake can do the same thing.
I'd love
It's
it.
going to be interesting to see, Paul, what's going to happen here. And like I said, the biggest problem I see is just for Gerard Gallant and the coaching staff to actually pick and choose who's going to be in the lineup when it comes to the third and fourth line, depending on the opposition, too, depending on who they play. If they're going to play Washington, you got to have Reeves in there. You got it. Sorry, but you have to have him in there just so you can chirp at Wilson. You know, hey, touch somebody, you die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and honestly, like you said, with the late year additions, Kopp has been real good.
Guy can play. He can play.
Yeah, Vetrano's been excellent for the Rangers. That gives them another scoring guy who takes the pressure off the other guys.
See, I think with Vetrano, I think he was caught in a situation in Florida where he was like third, fourth line for sure because there's so much ahead of him. Where with the Rangers, he's borderline second liner now. You know what I mean? He went from that fourth, third line thing to like third to second liner. So now he's able to show that he's got a little bit more game than he did in Florida.
Well, Gallant's got him playing with Zibanejad and Kreider.
I did, but I'm just giving you the way he's able to move up the lines wise.
Right.
Where in Florida, he might never ever have seen that first line or second line on a consistent basis.
Agreed. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. This team has showed some resilience. It showed some brilliance. It's got goaltending. It's got goal scoring. And I think they have what it takes in the third and fourth lines to eat up minutes, to grind away, playoff hockey. Obviously, we always talk about the second season in the world of hockey. And, you go back to a lot of, hockey 101 basics, get the puck deep, win the puck battles, take advantage of the situation when it's there, but be smart. And I think this team has it. I think here's where I see the Rangers. Other teams have exploited the Rangers. For one, you made a great point. The Rangers have to decide when to pass and when to shoot more decisively. I think the passing game can be a little bit of a downfall for the Rangers because we've seen teams.
They overdo it sometimes.
Yeah, we've
overdo it.
Yep, we've seen teams like Carolina really clog up the neutral zone, forecheck hard, really intercept that pass and turn it around on them and get them hemmed in. So I think, like you said, that it's pretty when it works, but boy, it can get dangerous. And in playoff hockey, you pull that shit against Carolina or Florida, and they're going to put it in the back of your net more times than not. So you got to be smart. You got to make the smarter play. The Rangers are going to have to adjust to a little more chip and chase than that pretty stuff. So I agree with you there. I think that's, though it's exciting at certain points, come playoff hockey, the adjustments have to be made.
I want them to be more selfish when they're in a scoring zone area.
Sure.
Instead of making that extra pass so somebody can tip one in or get an empty net goal.
Right.
Because here's what happens, Paulie, when you're playing for a team like the Rangers, okay? You got a guy like Adam Fox who is just a magician with the puck, okay?
Right.
So now you want to, like, you see this happening game in, game out, practice in, practice out as another play, and you're thinking, well, damn, I'm going to try that too. No, you shouldn't be trying that because it's not your game. Panarin does the same thing. He's a magician with the puck. There's no question about it. But both those guys, at the same time, as good as they are, and I'm not knocking them 100% here, they make some of the dumbest fucking passes that I've ever seen. Because they won't shoot the puck.
Yeah, they're trying to force something.
Thank you. Shoot the puck when you're in a shooting, scoring situation. Stop
Absolutely.
thinking about the extra pass. Stop thinking about the one-timer all the time across ice. Stop thinking the crowd is going to deflect everything you pass to them. If you're in that 20-foot zone and you got a clean shot to the net, I want you to shoot the puck.
Yeah.
I don't want you passing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes they over think what they're doing. And I think they could score more goals this way by getting the shot off rather than taking that extra pass. That's all I'm saying.
I wouldn't disagree. I mean,
that's it for tonight. I mean, I think we covered just about everything we can right now.
I think we did.
I think in the next week we'll know a lot more about the standings. We'll know a lot more about where the places are going to be. It's still not going to be solidified 100%, but I can't wait till we get to that one show where you and I make our predictions. When it comes to the playoffs, okay? When we finally know who's playing who. Make our predictions.
We're going to make our predictions. We sure are. Until then now. Well, listen. Next week we'll figure it out. I know I can't do Wednesday. I might have to do another Monday show.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, remember, this is all on you. You're the one that works for a living.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm waiting for this to be the work for my living.
That'd be awesome.
Can we make that happen, people? The Instigators Hockey Show. I'm Paulie D. He's Chris Katsop. See, I got it right this time. Check out the mug, though, bro.
Yeah.
It's empty.
Listen, you got the shirt, you got the mug, you got it all.
I got to share
Just
though.
Like the old song, Bogey and Bacall. Where's my stuff? Where's my shit? When's it coming?
It's coming. This week, I promise.
That's a Gordie Howe used to say to people, it's coming. It's coming, all right. That elbow to your nose.
Let's see. Only day is fine. Did kind of. Oh, Barry wants to know if you finished that bottle of Jack there, big boy. He's not.
I could listen. I've been known to do that, Barry, but not tonight. Just having a few, big boy.
Who was the bass player from Van Halen? What was his name? Michael Anthony. Remember? He used to kill Jack Daniels. With that being said, listen, it's always a pleasure to bring in the programming. We do this. We do this for fun and love of the game and each other's company.
Listen, we sit here and blab and we hack and slash and we throw, drop the gloves and we go at it a little bit. It's all fun and games, and I just want to talk hockey the way it should be. I don't want it to be anesthetically like put us everybody in a coma. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. The way most people do it. You're either going to like what we're going to say or you're not going to like what we're going to say, and that's okay with me because everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got their ideas about how the game should be played, what's happening with the NHL, what's happening with hockey. And just listen. If you don't like it, let us know. And if you like it, let us know. That's okay with me.
Listen, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. If you are not part of the Instigators Hockey Show on Facebook, please do so. That's where we do most of our advertising. I'm going to start listing some things that we're going to have. Chris is going to sign a bunch of T-shirts and stuff. We'll raffle them off. We'll sell them off. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that being said, we just want to thank you. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're either friends with Chris or myself. And
listen, it sure would be nice if a Darren Langdon would ever respond, wouldn't it?
We are waiting for Darren Langdon to respond.
I've tried him like how many times, and I don't know.
It is what
it is. Out there, and you're a good dude.
So we'll bring some people on and we'll get some things going. It's fun when Chris and Ron Greshner get together and start yapping at each other because they're both very quick-witted and they like to break each other's balls.
Listen, I'm good. I'm really good, but Gresh is the king. You are not going to outwit him with the one-liners. I can go with him pretty good, but in the end, Gresh wins.
Yeah.
We had nothing else to do growing up in a town of 300 people. I mean, what else are you going to do up there? You have to learn to be quick-witted.
It's fun to listen. It's fun to be a part of.
Oh, he's hilarious. He's hilarious.
But so next week, we're probably going to do Monday, maybe Tuesday, but we'll let you know, obviously, earlier. We'll let you know by Sunday night. With that being said,
and hopefully the Rangers go far enough in the future that we might do one from Paulie's townhouse.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Down there, and I'm going to invade Tampa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Be ready for me, Tampa, because I can't stand your weather. I can't stand the heat. So Paulie's going to turn that air conditioning up to like 58.
I will do it. We got to get you here in May, so we got to figure it out.
All righty.
Because I don't know that you can handle June. May probably. June, I don't know.
Listen, if it's 100 degrees every day, I'm not leaving your place. That's all there is to it.
It's all right. We'll put the air on 50 and you'll be fine.
You know, we'll get into that one day on the show too about the heat.
I got a pool outside. You're fine.
Yeah. It's a
all right,
well, it's in this heat. It's in that heat. I know.
For me and the polar bear over there, we'll see you next week. It's the Instigators Hockey Show. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
And look us up, the Instigators Hockey Show on Facebook.
Any questions you got, send them to Paulie. Don't send them to me.
I haven't heard from Beth. I hope everyone had a great Easter. Beth, we're thinking about you. I hope you're okay. Shoot me a text when you're feeling better, okay? With that being said, Barry, we love you. You're the best, buddy. I got your shirt. It's coming your way. Make sure you send me your address. I think you did already. For Chris and I, good night, everyone.
Ciao, baby.
Ciao.